I'm Vicky Bowman. I'm the Director of Myanmar Centre for Responsible Business, and we have a NGO which is working on business and human rights across many sectors. MCRB did an assessment of the private security sector, and we were very much inspired by the ICoCA and also by some of the other assessments which had been done by ICoCA members. We talked a lot to the Secretariat about what we should look at in the private security company sector, and indeed a lot of the findings that we found were very much reflecting what's come out of some of the other country members like Kenya, Nigeria, and the work that ICoCA has been doing on things like working conditions in the sector. So it's been really useful for us to be able to kind of sense check our own findings and then come up with recommendations which are both good for Myanmar but also good for the wider global sector. I think some of the major issues on the horizon are around issues which both private security companies but also their clients are going to have to engage with around how to assess risks, mitigate risks, engage with rights holders and then report on what they're doing to manage and address any abuses which come up. Another area which is really interesting to see its development is the role of tech in the sector. This is something that we were really pioneering in Myanmar, looking at things like the use of CCTV in a responsible way. There's also these sort of broader, more geopolitical issues on things like critical minerals, the just transition, and how the security sector plays into that, and how companies who are producing those commodities can demonstrate they're doing it in a responsible way, which is respecting local community rights. So I think civil society organisations are generally not focused on security and human rights per se. So it's always interesting to see who the civil society organisations are that engage with ICoCA, and then how they, within the countries that they work, can widen interest in the question of security and human rights, because it's a kind of forgotten issue, and in particular the sector itself is sort of invisible, and I think it's only now emerging, including through some of the work that ICoCA has done on things like working conditions, that we can see that there are abuses both by the sector but also within the sector of things like security guards who are not even being paid a minimum wage, let alone a living wage.